So, Paul, bigger picture, what did you see in this basketball game last night?
I think we saw a good old bar fight, Skip. I was excited about that one.
It
good
old Eastern Conference bar
good old
fight.
Eastern Conference early 2000 game. A lot of jockeying going on with
You played in
coaching.
a couple of those, right?
Yeah, I played in a couple of those. I was thoroughly impressed with the Heat the first half. And first thing I noticed was Spoelstra. You know, you forget sometimes because they haven't won a championship since the LeBron days, but he's been to the finals twice in the last few years. To me, in my eyes, he's the best coach in basketball, hands down. I think so because
I got Ty Lue in there somewhere, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at the talent he's been able to work with, and I thought at the beginning of this game, I was like, the Heat really got a chance to win because before the game, I was like, nah, they probably get wiped off the floor. But he threw the zone. He threw the traps.
He did.
He threw every scheme that you can think of at the Sixers. And I was like, this looks like a great game plan. Jimmy Butler was all over the place, looking like he's turning back into Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
I mean, he came out with like 4 steals in the first quarter.
He did.
And it looked like he was going to just will them to a victory right out the gate. They just came and smacked Philly in the mouth. And, but they adjusted after the half. Embiid settled down to the triple teams and the double teams, and I thought he did a great job at finding open guys, especially Batum. So, and Keyshawn, when you want to make a run at a title, you got to have a lot of unsung heroes throughout the road. And when we saw that last night with Nicolas Batum, obviously, knocking down big shots after big shots, making great defensive plays. And what about the one play I thought was one of the biggest plays of the game? When he got the rebound and kind of flipped it over his head, I don't know how he made it. But, plays like that is what wins you games, especially games that they need. But as far as potential threats to the Celtics, I think maybe only the Sixers because they have an MVP caliber player. And, they were second in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia was second in the Eastern Conference when he was healthy. They were 32-8 with Embiid in the lineup. So that says something.
It does?
That says something.
Does it say something to your Celtics?
No, I don't really say much. No. But it says something. We own them, Skip. They haven't beaten us since, 82, maybe 80, I don't know, early 80s. I don't know. But, we can't take anybody lightly because last time we did that with Miami Heat last year, we lost in 7 games. So I think it's a different mentality this year. Going into the playoffs, we have yet to see, but we'll see. And so hopefully they learn from that. But I like what I saw from Philly and their grit in the second half. They came, they got punched in the mouth. We're a gritty team too. And like I said, it was back and forth. I love that type of game though. I mean, it was just big shot after big shot after big shot. Embiid came through. This is what you want your superstars to do down the stretch. Be superstars. And he made big shot, big offensive rebound, big 3, big assist to Kelly Oubre for the and one. Probably the biggest assist of the game. And they did what they needed to do and held on. Now, the Knicks is a different story because the Knicks owned them, and they blew them out in the game that Joel Embiid played. So that's going to be another bar fight series.
Beat him 3 out of 4.
That's going to be another bar fight series. I'm telling you. That's going to be a bar fight, and I know on paper you're going to say the Sixers, but maybe the Knicks might get them.
Really?
The Knicks may get them.
You willing to go there already?
I hope they don't, as much as I don't like the Knicks, as much as I don't like the Lakers. But, the numbers...
Sounds like you got Knicks.
No, I don't got Knicks. The Knicks won the series, so I think Philadelphia gets the Knicks.
Didn't the Knicks blow the Celtics' doors off a couple weeks ago?
They was uninteresting.
They played.
Yeah,
Paul.
they did.
All 5, 6, 7 of them got on the floor. They put their shoes on. I want to hear nothing about we wrapped it up already. You played. I'm just saying. If I can remember, they blew the doors off.
We all know regular season wins don't mean nothing as much as they do in the playoffs because you can put your chest out and feel good about a win on Boston court, but when you get sent home, that's a different story. That's a different feeling.
Okay.
So, but I like what I saw from Philly, and you can't deny that Philly has won 9 in a row with Embiid in the lineup, and so they're playing with a lot of momentum right now.
They are.
The question, I guess, would be, where are the Sixers in terms of the Celtics, right? Is that what we?
Well, they got to get through the Knicks.
I was going to say that yeah, but in this situation, I think we assume, based on them having Embiid back and Embiid being healthy, that they get a chance to see the Knicks. They're going to beat the Knicks because the eye and the prize.
I'm not sure
that
that's
may not.
a given.
They may
I'm
lose
not
to
sure
them.
that's a given, though.
That
Knicks
very well be
3-1,
true.
3-1 Knicks on the series.
But the question isn't about the Knicks. The question is about the Sixers and the Celtics. Are they a threat, or can they be a threat to the Celtics if they see them? And my question would be yes. As long as Embiid can play at the level on a consistent basis, and he's going to round himself up into much better shape than he is right now. Because you can see he was kind of, at times, late in the game, even though in the fourth quarter he had 11 points, he mustered down with 4 rebounds, he played defense, a couple steals. I mean, he did some stuff, a couple assists. He did some stuff that made you go, okay, if I can get that for 4 quarters, what I got in the fourth quarter, then it's going to be a tough matchup. But here's what I would say defensively for the Sixers, if they are to see the Celtics, based on what Tyler Hero was able to do to them in the fourth quarter, shooting those threes and knocking those things down, you got to be careful if you're the 76ers against a team that's all they do is shoot threes. And if they get hot, then they're going to blow the Celtics, are going to blow you off the floor. So that adjustment needs to be made defensively, and I'm sure they'll take a look at that if they get to them. But just like most teams in the NBA, in my opinion, it all starts with your star. Whoever your top dog is has got to bark.
You confident in Joel Embiid.
Especially now.
Especially now.
No, but you confident in Joel Embiid based on what we've seen his history of the playoffs.
But Paul, there you go again. It applies to the Celtics. I mean, it applies to Joel Embiid, but it doesn't apply to the Celtics. Now, all of a sudden, you get ready to tell me, based on his history
against the Celtics. Against the Celtics.
You can say the same thing about any player that has bad series against somebody.
I mean, he played good one game, and then when you need it most, I see him.
But can you not?
He pulled a David Copperfield on.
But can you not change at some point in time? Enough's enough. In his opinion, I'm sure Joel Embiid will be looking back and saying to himself, enough's enough. I'm tired of failing against the Celtics. If they see him, I've got to play better. I've got to do my job. I got to do a much better thing, but I need Maxey to come. I need Kelly Oubre to do his job. Tobias Harris, he's got to start knocking down shots and not looking like he doesn't belong. If they can get all of those sort of things, of course they're going to be a threat to the Celtics. No matter
they're the only threat because they got a top 5 player in the MVP.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
That's enough.
The recipe for this championship every year, and you should know this, Skip, and you definitely should know this, is to win a championship, you got to have a top 5 player.
Got to have.
You got to have an MVP caliber player. And that's the number one recipe.
That's
and
one.
Whatever you surround that with, whatever you put your meat and potatoes in the pot, then whatever seasonings you put on that.
See, I feel like you got to have. I feel like you got to have an MVP type, but then you got to have an MVP type B guy, like a Maxey that comes, because you can't win. Look, as much as we like to point to,
no, not necessarily, because Joker got Murray, and he's not even an all-star in the league.
But he should have been.
But Murray be cooking though. Yeah. I don't know why he's not an all-star.
No, Denver got a lot of similarity. I mean, Sixers got a lot of similarities to Denver. Because think about if you got Joel Embiid.
I agree.
And the Joker, they match up well.
Okay.
And then you got Murray and Maxey as your second best player. Mm-hmm. Sixers should have all they need to get to the title game.
What I was going to say, though, if you go back and you just look at, even though Golden State fell apart, but if you look at when Kawhi and Toronto beat Golden State, it really, for the most part, Kawhi was the big dog. He was the MVP caliber player.
Top five player.
Then you had the guys in
the fall off was
Laurie,
Siakam
but they played way above their heads when they needed to.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Kevin Durant situation happened and they kind of just fell apart.
That's what happened.
But they still was able to play above their heads at that point in time. So you don't.
So you think that's what the Sixers is going? You think they can do that?
They're gonna have to. Unless if they get to y'all, unless y'all play like y'all play when y'all losing.
If your MVP caliber player is known for not stepping up in the biggest games when you need them, what's going to change?
It's a different year.
What changes? It is a different year. It's okay to be optimistic, but there's no threat.
All right, so to your point, for the first 3.5 quarters, 3 3/4 quarters of that game, Joel Embiid looked sorry to me. He looked out of shape, and he looked a little overweight, and he looked sluggish, and he looked like he's favoring his knee. He just looked sorry, flat out sorry, which is why those fans booed him mostly off the floor. They were booing Tobias a little bit, but just the whole show, because they looked cooked at halftime. Yeah, they especially looked cooked after a quarter. But what happened on the final play of the first quarter, Jimmy gets tangled up and goes down, and Oubre falls on his leg and hits his knee, and I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but it happened. And they said it was an MCL, and I guess maybe he's got some tear in it or something. I don't know exactly what Sham's report is, but it's a problem, and he said after the game it was going to be a problem. He did suck it up, and he went back in the game, and Spoelstra said in his between quarters interview, we're trying to protect him from himself a little bit, but he wants to go back in the game, and they let him go back in the game.
I love that.
I do too, but did he look like playoff Jimmy for the last 3 quarters? He did not. No. And he shot 3 for 14 over the last 3 quarters. Yeah. Now, he tends to go hot and cold in the playoffs, and when he goes hot, hot. Yeah. Like nobody can get hotter than he can get, as we saw against Milwaukee and occasionally against you guys. Right. But 3 for 14 just won't cut it. So all of a sudden, they lost their big barking dog. That's what happened. He couldn't bark anymore. He was out there, but he was dragging one leg up and down the floor, and he couldn't defend, and he couldn't steal the ball like he had been doing, and he couldn't disrupt, and he couldn't do playoff Jimmy things. And all of a sudden, here they came. All right, so Nicolas Batum, I'm a big fan of his. He's been in this league for 16 years. He's played professional basketball for 18 years of his life, and he's only 35 years of age. And, Paul, he might be a lone exception to your French rule about no French player is a tough guy. I think he's pretty tough. I do think he might qualify.
I didn't say no French players were tough. It's the perception.
Okay, the perception.
The perception of him.
Well, my perception of him is that he's pretty tough. I'm not talking about back alley fight you tough, but I just think he's a tough defender who'll play both ends, and he's not afraid of anybody. So there's always the X factor, as you say. What I love about the play, and once upon a time LeBron said whoever invented this should be fired. Right. Well, I think whoever invented it deserves a raise, because we get these kind of games. Right. That was special last night, man. I'm on the edge of my seat because it had magnitude to it. Whereas game 1 at Denver at 8:30 Eastern on Saturday, Lakers at Denver, it's not end of the world. It's important, but it's not be-all and end-all. This felt be-all and end-all because they're fighting for their lives here. And they're fighting for the opportunity to get to you guys.
This was a more exciting game than the Laker Pelicans game.
I'm with you.
It just I don't know why, but it just, and I'm not a Sixer fan, nor am I a Miami Heat fan, but it just felt
because there was a defensive intensity.
It was on both sides.
On both sides, it was hard. It was like tooth and nail. It was hard to score. This is classic East Coast basketball, Eastern Conference basketball. Celtics versus Detroit. Bulls versus Detroit. This was that type of game.
And so, to your point, it took Batum going crazy hot for him, because he makes 5 threes in the third quarter and then 1 in the fourth quarter.
And then that rebound put back with his left hand.
It's just ridiculous. That was crazy. It was just ridiculous.
Well, I don't know how he got that.
Okay. So you say he's an X factor, but the biggest X factor in the Eastern Conference playoffs is that big joker for, he's not the joker, he is a joker for the Sixers, and that's Joel Embiid. Because when I least expected it, and it starts with about 3 minutes left, 2:46, he gets fouled, and if we could see this riff of what is about to happen,
was tough.
He gets fouled.
And one jumper.
Okay, well, no, that was the first time he just got fouled and went to the free throw line. Let's see the riff of Joel points. He accounts for 11 straight points, and this is the greatest big man free throw shooter we've ever seen.
What was he, 9 or 10?
Yeah, he just doesn't miss. And then he comes down and drains that, shot it like it was a free throw. And
this right here was
devastating. He gets the rebound, and that's
that one right there.
That hurt.
Yeah, that hurt.
And he makes the free throw, because he makes every free throw. And then he finds, guess who? Kelly Oubre on the backside of the zone. Jimmy's sort of ball watching a little bit. And he gets an and one. That's 11 quick points that he accounts for. And guess what? They go from down 3 to up 4. Right. And it was all MVP Embiid, right? I mean, he just took the game over for about, what? Well, really, the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, about 3 minutes.
Yeah. And then here comes Tyler Hero back down, and he's going pretty crazy hot. And guess what happens on his big shot at the end of the game that could have tied it? He has a shot to tie with 26 seconds left. We could see
the left-hand corner.
No,
Nicolas Batum with the defense.
Look,
oh yeah,
and he blocks it, and Batum blocks it
from behind. He jumps. He caught up to him.
Batum's a long 6'8", you know, like he can defend,
right.
And he tries hard. And here's my point about the Sixers. To me, they look a little better without James Harden. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think they play
got
harder.
better chemistry. They tend to like each other. The ball moves a little better. Tyrese and Oubre, I just like the feel of them. But the X factor is Joel, because you're exactly right. I don't know what he's going to do from night to night. And I told you I'd talk to a Philly source I've known forever.
They'd have had about another.
Yeah. What's that?
I was thinking they probably had another 5 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
They could have lost that game.
Yeah, but
you know why? Because of their last play.
I know
my God.
They kicked it out of bounds.
Like, what the hell?
But it actually was okay because there's only 0.3 left. So when you kick it out of bounds, it's going to eat the last 0.3.
I mean, I thought Miami presented a formula on how you play the Sixers. Yeah. You know, they were gritty. They surrounded Joel Embiid. And trust me, the Knicks are watching this because the Knicks are just as gritty. They have just as gritty players and their coach, and they have a brilliant coach in Thibodeau. You know, he was our assistant coach on our championship team.
He was.
And, you know, that's just them going into that series versus the Knicks. This is going to be a bar fight series.
It comes down to that Hartenstein or Robinson. I just don't think they can deal. If Joel's right, they can't deal with it.
Well, I mean, I don't think they dealt with him versus Miami. They trapped them. They tripled.
They were trapping him the whole game.
The whole game. Yeah. And he figured it out.
He did.
Well, you know, versus the Knicks, I think you could play him a little more straight up. Allow him, like, let's say, all right, let's allow him to get 30. Let's stop these other. Let's not let Batum get 20. Let's not let Maxey drive downhill. I'm okay with Joel Embiid being dominant on the inside because the more twos he takes and you force him to drive, that means the less threes they take and make. So
he was 50% for three. He only shot 4 of them.
I'm saying, but I'm saying like for a formula for Philly, like they got bodies. The Knicks got bodies that you can throw at them, force them to drive, trap him when you need to, but stay home because they got guys that can hurt you.
But if you're throwing bodies at him and you using up them fouls, he ain't gonna do nothing but go to the free throw line and get his points that way.
Twos is better than threes, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but if he getting and ones on you, them
Batum,
threes.
Maxey, Oubre is out here knocking down shots. That's when they're most dangerous. When he's opening up the floor, that's when they opened up the game. They opened up the game when he started passing to the open guys, and you started worrying so much about him. Look, simple pass, you know what? It was a simple pass right there to Oubre. You know why? Because when Embiid gets it, you know what the tendency is? The tendency is it's a sink on defense from your wings, and then you start ball watching when you get a guy.
Jimmy did. Yeah.
You start ball watching, and then you take your eyes off your man, and that's when other guys get open. I'm saying you got to stay home on them other guys.
So to your point, as I said yesterday, I talked to a longtime Sixers source I've known forever, and trust me, they don't trust that Joel will make it all the way unscathed through the playoffs because he doesn't, and he's coming off a scope surgery. It's not the end of the world. You've had them, and they're not the biggest deal, but he gets a little heavy, and he doesn't stay in shape, and then something always seems to go wrong for him, whether it's an upset stomach or he pulls this or whatever
Y'all
it is.
funny, man.
Well, but it's been a long history. It's true.
I understand. I get it.
And that's what you have to hope for is that he's not 100%.
If the Sixers make it to the conference finals to see the Celtics.
But what make you think the Celtics are going to make it to the conference finals?
Let's just hypothetically say. Let's just hypothetically speaking right now. By the time Joel go through, let's say for the Knicks, that can go 6 or 7. So you got 6 or 7 game, a 6 or 7 game bar fight.
Yeah.
And then you got the next round. you know who it could potentially
be Orlando or Indy, right?
Do you know how much wear and tear is on your body by the time you get to the Eastern Conference Finals? I'm going in the Eastern Conference Finals with bruised knee, jammed toe. And I'm thinking like the way Joel is right now, he's not in the best shape because he just came back.
Yeah.
He's a little gimpy with his knee.
Yep.
Can he really make it through 2 series, tough series? By the time he get there, by the time he gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, he's gonna be beat up. He's gonna be beat up.
Y'all gonna be relaxed, huh? Because y'all gonna just sweep everybody.
No, I ain't saying that. But we got youth on our side. We got youth on our side, and we got younger players. We got younger youth and depth at the position we needed for him.
Who's young for y'all?
Our whole team is young. What you mean?
How so?
Our superstars is 26 years old.
I know, but they
But they've
played
been
8
in the league
years.
like 25 years. Come on, Paul.
They battle
and then
tested.
Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is like
35.
Man, come on, man.
They're battle tested. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Al Horford, he your age right now playing still.
True.
Didn't he play with you in Boston?
No, I didn't play with Al.
All right, so as we look at your first-round opponent, we got Chicago going back to Miami where they went last year, and it went to the wire, and the Heat pulled it out, and they were off to the races. I don't think the Heat can win this game without their big
Jimmy
dog
Butler.
barking. I just don't.
Yeah, no, they pretty much, they get this one game at home, and then they can go ahead and start making their plans.
And by the way, you brought him up on the show before, but Kobe White was spectacular
He's
last
my
night.
most improved player.
He is. He just is. And he had a career-high 42. Although the other point you make is everybody gets their career high.
Hey, everybody get their career high versus
right?
Celtics was young with Paul. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, they was young. Eddie House, they was young.
Nah, we was an old team. We was an old team.
And what's this team?
Who? The Celtics?
Man, come on, man, stop.
Man, come on.
Them dudes have been in the league double digits, man.
No, they haven't. We was in the league already 10+ years. Come on now.
We got to talk about what happened 2 nights ago. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.